December 18.
Insanely cool. But I think it's better for night stream. That's why I'm gonna vote against it. Hopefully that headache pill is gonna hit.
Napoleon Bonaparte
We can play some England, for sure.
crowned himself Emperor of the French. Europe had never seen such a sudden and dramatic rise to power. A son of impoverished Corsican nobility to military dictator of France in little more than 10 years. Revolution and war had cleared Napoleon's path to the throne. War would dominate his 10-year reign.
Kind of only 10 years to think about it. Only 10 years.
History that would leave millions dead and a continent in turmoil.
Yeah, the whole continent is broken, millions have died, and we kind of celebrate him on Napoleon, who was such a great guy.
8 months after Napoleon's coronation,
Where Counter-Strike?
the French Empire and its Spanish ally were at war with Britain, and Napoleon...
So we're now, Napoleon took over emperorship, and he just fucked everyone's ass in Italy. And now he's gonna keep staying a busy bee.
had assembled an army of 180,000 men along the Channel coast.
Damn.
But as long as the British Royal Navy ruled the seas,
How important that navy was, huh?
was impossible. But nor could Britain challenge
Yeah, Dogfire,
France
we're looking a bit
on
cooked here.
land.
Maybe
And
tomorrow
so
morning, like
British
9
Prime
AM.
Minister William Pitt tried to build
We'll
a
see.
European coalition against Napoleon, using diplomacy and gold. Britain would prove Napoleon's most steadfast enemy, and its press delighted
You'll
in
have just built a
relentless
bridge.
mockery of the French emperor. Britain and France were old rivals in Europe and overseas. But now, Pitt feared Napoleon's conquests had made France too powerful. The French emperor had to be defeated, and Europe's balance of power restored if there was ever to be lasting
The human race always
peace.
looked at a balance of power, right? There can't be like a sole superpower. They always naturally try to balance that. They should have
Pitt
just used the
found
Eurotunnel.
willing allies in Europe. Among
You go to
monarchs
half
who
England and half
despised
Zomboid.
Napoleon
Yeah.
as a product of the
Yeah.
French Revolution. And
But
a
yeah, bear
dangerous
with me a bit today. Today I'm a bit cooked, man. I'm a bit fucked, man.
threat to the existing
There's a little
order.
white blood
Austria
cell war
harbored
going
the
inside of me.
deepest grievances, having seen her influence in Germany and Italy steadily eroded by French victories. The final straw came in May 1804.
Only today, Kappa? I had insane
when
energy
Napoleon
yesterday.
had also
25
crowned
years old
himself
with 2
King
kids
of
soon.
Italy
More energy
in
than all these
Milan.
fucking plebs. What are you talking about?
Austria,
You have temperature?
Russia,
Who cares? I don't give a shit
Sweden,
anymore.
and
It is what it is.
Naples joined Britain in an alliance known as the Third Coalition,
Etruria.
and devised an ambitious plan for a series of joint offensives against France. The main attack would be made by a combined Austro-Russian army, advancing across the Rhine into France.
Did I say 25?
But Napoleon got word of their plans and reacted with typical speed and
We've watched
decision.
this? No. No.
He was determined to strike first,
Coffee's
before
too
the
hot.
Allies could join forces, and ordered his army, now renamed La Grande Armée, to march to the River Rhine. His target was the Austrian army of General Mack.
I wonder if there was a soldier in Napoleon's army that was everywhere. His beginnings, Egypt, Italy, the battle against the Austrians. There must have been some people that have been part of all of it.
Which had made a
Imagine the
premature
things you have
advance
seen,
against
man, at that
Bavaria,
point, if you
a
have been in
French
all of that.
ally, and was
They're
now
called the Old
dangerously
Guard?
isolated from the other Allied armies.
The cook saw it all.
Napoleon ordered Marshal Murat, his famously flamboyant cavalry commander, to make feint attacks through the Black Forest,
What does flamboyant mean? Flamboyant?
while the rest of his army, advancing at speed, enveloped Mack's army from the north.
Feminine, zesty, and
That
gay.
summer, Napoleon's Grande Armée was
Saucy.
at its most formidable. Well-trained, highly motivated, its regiments at full strength. What's more, it had been newly reorganized according to the corps system, later imitated by virtually every army in the world. Each corps, commanded by a marshal,
What an
was a
influencer, man.
mini-army
And
of
everybody
15
copied
to
him afterwards.
30,000 soldiers,
Don't they still do this
with its own
nowadays? They still do
infantry,
this, right?
Cavalry, artillery, and supporting arms, such as reconnaissance, engineers, and transport. This meant each corps could march and fight for
Have
a
you seen this?
limited
Maybe we
time
have. I'm watching it again.
independently.
I already forgot I'm old.
allowing Napoleon to break with the old doctrine of keeping his army concentrated and advance with his corps widely dispersed. This helped to disguise his real objective and increased movement speed, because the army could advance along multiple roads and live off the land, taking its supplies from scattered villages, rather than relying on slow-moving supply wagons. When the enemy's main force
A bunch of people are about to get banned. You be careful now. You know who you are.
Concentrate for battle. This is how Napoleon's army was able to move at a speed that often surprised and disorientated his enemies. Mack didn't realize the danger he was in until it was too late. Napoleon's fast-moving corps.
I think we've seen this, but I want to see it again so to have chronological order. I don't care.
His army.
What is Tommy mad about?
Mack launched a series
When
of
it's out, maybe, you fucking moron.
counterattacks. But despite some desperate fighting, the Austrians couldn't break out of the trap.
The first HOI4 encirclement. How is that HOI? Okay.
Mack hoped that Kutuzov's Russian army could arrive in time to save him, but the Russians were still 160 miles away. And so, at Ulm, on the 19th of October, just 6 weeks into the war, Mack surrendered his army to Napoleon. The French took nearly 60,000 Austrian prisoners, and Napoleon had struck.
I agree with you, actually, a good comment for once in chat. A big thing that makes Victoria Free unattractive to me is the war system since day one, right? Victoria Free is a fun game, it's good, but this fucking war system, why don't you just make it like EU4? You make an army and then they fight? What's the problem?
First
that war system destroys so much.
The coalition. Russian General Mikhail Kutuzov was an experienced and wary commander, more cautious than Mack. His army was exhausted after its 900-mile march from Russia. But hearing of the Austrian surrender at Ulm, and knowing he wasn't strong enough to face Napoleon alone, he immediately...
If I ever get teleported into the 18th century, 19th century Napoleonic era, I'm gonna be a shoemaker. I'm just gonna make shoes all day. I'm gonna make millions, bro. They must have needed so many goddamn shoes. So how much they're marching, dude? These people march 900 miles, I can barely walk 10.
Retreat. Napoleon pursued.
Cobbler, it's called, the cobbler.
The Russians fought several sharp rearguard actions, but could not save the Austrian capital.
Look at the coalition, man. They're so in disarray. They don't know what they're doing.
On the 12th of October.
Damn, they got murdered.
Kutuzov slipped away to Olmütz in today's Czech Republic, where he was joined by reinforcements, as well as Emperor Alexander of Russia and Emperor Francis of Austria in person. Napoleon was furious that Kutuzov had
escaped. Man, you still exist, you little fuck.
By now,
EU for England won. Okay, we're playing England after. I don't mind.
And far from home, with winter approaching, he needed to force a decisive battle.
Thank you, Kirin man.
Quickly. Fortunately for him, the overconfident 27-year-old Russian emperor sought the glory of battle.
As we now watch all these videos, one thing becomes very apparent, something you can learn from history. Kurina, I want to see you as a goalkeeper later this year. Is that it seems to me one of the, I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but one interesting detail is that Napoleon did meritocracy. He made talented people officers, whereas his enemies, right, the Russians and stuff, made nobility officers. So on average, a Napoleonic officer would be much more talented and more educated than the nobility on the other side, man. And it really, you can really, even in a way, apply this to nowadays, right? This is what I always talk about. Maybe I've been wrong the whole time. Maybe I'm not a technocrat. Maybe I'm a meritocrat, right? Thank you, Yas boy. Where if you look at our cabinets, Germany, Trump, we don't make talented people ministers. We don't make talented people Kash Patel. We don't make talented people Katharina Reich in Germany, right? Maybe that's, if I would ever run for office, if I would ever have my own party and I will talk to citizens, I would advertise a meritocracy again. And I think people would like it. I will get votes with it. I think I will be, hey, listen, people, if you vote for me, I'm gonna make talented people into offices. But then my political opponents and my political friends will backstab me, like in the movie of Ryan Gosling and George Clooney, The Idols of March, you know? Like just AI run the government. AI isn't even that far yet, man. People always act like AI. It's not that fucking good.
battle, overriding the concerns of his veteran General Kutuzov.
Studies show that war meritocracy corrupts rather quickly as those with merit start to bloat their egos and see others as less. Every system has corruption and evil in it, but the question is always, what is the most evil? Would you rather have a talented minister chosen for talent or the friends of Trump? It always is what's worse, you know? What's the alternative?
The Allied army closing in, Napoleon ordered his corps to rapidly concentrate on a battlefield he had carefully selected, near the
catering
town of Austerlitz. Napoleon oversaw the dispositions of his army late into the night. Then
we've seen this video already, but it's almost done.
Beside a campfire. Dawn would mark the first anniversary of his coronation as emperor, and promised a battle that would make or break his young empire. The morning of the 2nd of December 1805 was cold and bright, with a heavy mist. Two armies of near equal size faced each other across a 7-mile-wide battlefield. But the Allies held the high ground of the Prussian heights, while French Third Corps under Marshal Davout was still marching to the battlefield. Seeing Napoleon's thinly stretched right flank, the Allies planned a large-scale attack from the Prussian heights to steamroller the French right, before swinging round to envelop Napoleon's army. Little did they know, Napoleon was counting on his weak right wing luring the Allies into just such a move, whereupon he would launch his own attack on the Prussian heights to cut the Allied army in half. His bold plan relied on his correct prediction of Allied movements, the speedy arrival of Davout's Third Corps on his right, and a perfectly timed counterattack. The battle began around 7 a.m. as Austrian troops of General Kienmayer's advance guard clashed with French troops defending the village of Telnitz. In the face of overwhelming odds, the French fought stubbornly and bravely, but gradually they were forced back. But the Allies, instead of carrying out their great enveloping attack, did nothing. The morning mist and the late arrival of orders had led to confusion and delay, and it was another hour before the first 3 Allied columns were on the move. Soon fierce fighting erupted around Sokolnitz village and castle. Marshal Davout's corps, which had just force-marched 70 miles in 2 days, now arrived to strengthen the French right wing. Around 9 a.m, his lead infantry brigade appeared suddenly through the mist and retook Telnitz, before being driven back in turn by Austrian hussars. 2 more of Davout's brigades reinforced French troops at Sokolnitz. As the mist began to clear, Napoleon saw that, as he'd hoped, the Allied left was moving off the Prussian heights, and he ordered Marshal Soult's 4th Corps to begin its attack. To the alarm of Allied commanders, 2 French infantry divisions, until now hidden by the mist, were suddenly seen advancing straight towards the Allied centre. General Kutuzov was forced to hurriedly organize a defense of the heights, using troops of 4 column. 2 hours of bloody fighting followed. Musket fire was so rapid and furious that both sides were soon low on ammunition and turned to the bayonet. By 11 a.m, the French, with the advantage in training and discipline, had secured the heights and driven a deep wedge into the Allied position. To the north, a giant cavalry battle
letting you guys alone with the video.
While a Russian force from General Bagration's advance guard captured the village of Bosenitz, before it was halted by cannon fire from the Santon Hill. A decisive charge by 6 regiments of French heavy cavalry finally drove back the Allies, allowing Marshal Lannes' 5 Corps to move forward and seize Blasowitz and Krug. Now, Grand Duke Constantine,
I still have to write the email, man, for
commanding the Russian Imperial Guard, led forward this last Allied reserve in a desperate bid to reclaim the Pratzen Heights. A battalion of the French 4th Line Regiment was charged down by Russian Guard cavalry, losing its Eagle standard in bloody fighting. Napoleon, who'd moved up to the heights, sent in his own Guard cavalry. 8 horsemen of both armies, the French finally prevailed. Napoleon had broken the Allied centre. Now, to close the trap on the Allied left wing, still locked in heavy fighting around Sokolnitz. Around 2 p.m, Napoleon ordered 4 divisions to switch.
As you know, I have a hobby of creating weird questions, and one of my favorite questions I've ever made in my life. I really mean this. Listen to this, right? I love that question, I'm very proud of it. Imagine you can turn any beverage, drink, or food into a woman that has the characteristics of that food, and then you start dating / fucking that woman. Which food or beverage would you fuck? I feel like a brownie.
I'd left, only now saw the danger he was in. Attacked from 3 sides, the only escape was south. Many of his troops were forced to flee across frozen ponds. French artillery opened fire, trying to smash the ice with their cannonballs. About 200 men and dozens of horses drowned in the freezing water. But not the many thousands of Napoleon's propaganda.
I will billionaire and do nothing. Hab sonst nicht.
The French Emperor had won a brilliant victory. His army had taken more than 10,000 prisoners and captured 45 enemy standards. Thousands of dead and wounded of all sides littered the battlefield. Many left untended for days.
What a fucking crazy KD, man. That's pretty insane.
The Battle of the Three Emperors, as it became known, was a crushing blow to the Third Coalition. As
this is actually very good frozen pizza, very quality.
Back to Russia, Francis I of Austria was forced to accept a humiliating settlement with France, agreeing to pay a 40 million franc indemnity and give up more territory in exchange for peace. But meanwhile, news had reached Napoleon of a disastrous Franco-Spanish defeat at sea off Cape Trafalgar. British Admiral Lord Nelson, at the cost of his own life, had masterminded a victory so complete that it ensured British naval
Dude, in my 20s I only ate frozen pizza, nothing else. Every night World of Warcraft.
But for the next 100 years. Britain, master of the sea. Napoleon, unbeatable on land. The whale and the elephant, neither able to challenge the other in its own domain. When William Pitt received news of Napoleon's victory at Austerlitz, he's supposed to have said, "Roll up that map of Europe. It will not be wanted these 10 years." A month later, Pitt was dead. But his warning that Europe faced another 10 years of war and upheaval,
I think now we go to Russia, right? Next video I will pay more attention because I already knew this one. Next video I don't know anymore.
Thanks to fellow YouTube channel History Mark.
The Battle of Jena.
An epic history.
Okay, that's a new video. Let's watch one more and then EU4. Jena is 1 hour away from me. I used to date a girl there.
TV History March collaboration.
Cap on God.
Supported by our sponsor, The Great Courses Plus. In December 1805, at the Battle of Austerlitz, Napoleon Bonaparte, Emperor of the French, won a crushing victory against the joint forces of Austria and Russia.
You just hate Hungarians?
Napoleon now dominated Europe, able to hand out spoils as he saw fit. In February 1806, he sent an army led by Marshal Massena to overthrow the King of Naples, who had dared to side with his enemies, and gave his throne to his own brother Joseph instead. Another brother, Louis, was made King of Holland. His German allies, Bavaria and Württemberg, were elevated to the status of kingdoms, while Napoleon made himself protector of the Confederation
Munich had like North Italy a bit, huh? What the fuck?
of the Rhine, a new alliance of German states that would contribute 60,000 troops to his army. In recognition of the new reality, Emperor Francis of Austria formally dissolved the Holy Roman Empire.
Wow.
Founded by
Dude, imagine you're the reason the HOI is cooked. That's pretty fucking aura, man.
Charlemagne 1,000 years before, but now without influence or purpose. Austria had been humiliated. France remained at war with Britain, Sweden and Russia. But in the summer of 1806,
Did Sweden ever do anything, by the way?
all eyes were on Prussia. The Prussian king, Frederick William III.
This looks like the start of... Nah, right? Nah. This looks like the start of a video game, but I'm wrong here, right? This is not a start date of a video game. I don't think so.
Regarded Napoleon with deep mistrust and had been about to join the coalition against him when news arrived of its disastrous defeat at Austerlitz. He was heavily influenced by his wife, the celebrated and popular Queen Louise, who detested France and Napoleon.
What's the Victoria free start date?
She led the influential War Party at the Prussian court. Matters came to a head over Hanover,
Oh, 1846.
a German state which had belonged to British King George III, been occupied by the French, and given by Napoleon to Prussia as compensation for other territorial changes. Now the Prussians learned that Napoleon had secretly offered to give Hanover back to Britain in exchange for peace. Frederick's advisors now persuaded him that war was the only honourable course. The Prussians
I come to determine that the only honorable thing to do is to kill each other until we are dead.
then made a basic strategic blunder, sending an ultimatum to Napoleon without consulting its new allies in the Fourth Coalition. Their forces were too far away to help Prussia, who would now face Napoleon's Grande Armée with just the small state of Saxony for support.
You can bring Napoleon back in Victoria, but not the real Napoleon. He's dead at that point, right? You mean the second. You can't bring back the real Napoleon, right? Napoleon III. I never knew about this, but Napoleon had many children, I guess. He had like a legit line. Like Napoleon III was legit. His grandson? His brother's sons. He only had one child. Ah, okay.
1806, the Prussian army had a fearsome reputation.
They're still Napoleon's heirs to
dated back
days.
50 years to the reign of Frederick the Great. Napoleon, a student of history, regarded it with respect. But Prussia's army had been allowed to rest on its laurels. Its generals were old. Its staff work hindered by bureaucracy and personal rivalries.
Wait, is that real-life Germany? Whoa.
Movements ponderous and predictable.
Ukraine has 40% of the GDP.
Prussian soldiers, however,
right?
could be...
I don't pay attention to Ukraine, I gotta be honest, I'm sorry, but I hear they're winning. I see just the headlines. I see that they're starting to win and shit, and the Russian soldiers are crazy bad conditions. No, they get no supply and stuff. I don't know if that's true though.
Relied on to fight with pride and determination, while Prussian cavalry was regarded as amongst the best in Europe.
What a cool flag, dude.
In October 1806, Napoleon invaded Saxony with an army of 166,000 men
that is a
and
lot, bro.
256 guns. Advancing in 3 columns, the French crossed the mountain forests of the Thuringerwald, along roads
Oh,
carefully...
that's where I live! This is my neighborhood! Okay, now I'm in. That's my life! I live right here. I used to date a girl here. I'm doing a vacation here. That's my neighborhood, guys. Let's take a look.
Reconnoitered by scouts and spies.
Doxed.
Napoleon intended to threaten Leipzig and force a decisive battle with...
I have to write the email, guys. I want to stream in a museum about these battles. I have to write them.
The Prussian army, which he believed was near Gera. The Prussians were, in fact, further west, concentrating near Erfurt, on the west bank of the river Saale. Its commander,
Write it then.
the Duke
It's a
of
bit of a
Brunswick,
deeper
had
email.
hoped to
I'll do it later.
threaten the flank of Napoleon's advance.
Paul Dano was pro-Palestine, is not
wrong-footed by the
blacklisted.
speed of the French.
Free speech,
He
yeah.
now
Fucking America. We love free speech. We're the freest country in the world. Yeah, but if you're pro-Palestine, you're fucking blacklisted and banned and shit. This
ordered
fucking
a
Muppet
retreat
country.
north to find a new defensive line.
So the Saxons are fighting for the Germans.
On the 10th of October, at Saalfeld, Marshal Lannes' 5 Corps clashed with a Prussian advance guard, commanded by Prince Louis Frederick, the king's cousin. The Prussian force was routed, and Prince Louis himself killed in combat with a quartermaster.
How do you get... Dude, this is like Napoleon Total War. Stop getting killed like that. Why do they get killed so easily? Stay behind a bit.
3 days later, Lannes made contact with a large Prussian force near Jena and sent news to Napoleon.
Don't
The French
even.
emperor,
Don't even. man.
believing he'd found the main Prussian army,
Don't even.
rapidly issued...
You're a fucking countryman. I remember the debate of who's the next mayor of New York. Won't you visit Israel? Won't you visit Israel, guys? Come on,
orders for
bro.
his corps to
Don't even.
concentrate for battle at Jena. Bernadotte's 1 Corps and Davout's 3 Corps were to cross the Saale and fall on the Prussian flank from the north. But Napoleon was wrong. Lannes faced a
Okay,
35,000-strong Prussian rearguard, commanded by General Hohenlohe. The main Prussian army, 52,000 men under the Duke of Brunswick, was further
I know all
north,
these cities, man.
moving straight into the path of
Spielberg.
Davout's 3 Corps.
Hassenhausen.
The Battle of Jena began at 6:30 a.m. on the 14th of October, in thick fog. Marshal Lannes' 5 Corps already had a toehold on the plateau west of
France has 166,000 soldiers. How does Prussia have
town
any
and
chance
river.
here?
His first task was to drive back the Prussians and win
Book
room
is
for
funded by
the rest
APAC,
of the
book
French
winners.
army, arriving by the hour to deploy. His infantry led the way.
And there was a guy in the back just jerking off in a chair. I think his name was like Agent Golden or something was his name.
And fierce fighting broke out for the villages of Cospeda,
I need that file.
and Lutzeroda. Meanwhile, Augereau's 7 Corps advanced through a ravine,
What a massive battle, huh?
emerging
So
onto the
huge.
plateau on Lannes' left
Sounds like
flank,
a BJJ session.
while Soult's 4 Corps climbed steep tracks to form on his right.
It's kind of my ancestors. If I look at my DNA, this is kind of my ancestors, these people. Probably one of my people was in there, yeah.
Napoleon joined Lannes in the center of the
But they're about to
battlefield,
lose, so I'm sad.
organizing a 25-gun battery to support the attack on Vierzehnheiligen. The village was won, but then lost to a determined Prussian counterattack.
Probably all there from grenades.
On the right.
I think every single person chat, if you check your last 10 male ancestors, most of them died in war. Lots of war deaths.
Around 10 a.m., Soult's infantry secured...
Can veterans join the army? First of all, learn how to write. Second of all, very racist. Third of all, not really. I remember when I was in an army operation. In the army, there was a thing where for 1 week, you sleep in the forest and you have to do a fight against another group. It's like a play, right? It's like training. And I will never forget how the big leader said, "Comrades, we're setting up operations and tonight we shall attack Kesselhut," which is me. "You will not be part of the advance. Our sniper squad has reported..." It's actually a true story. So there was 2 corps, so 400 soldiers, 200 versus 200, playing a war. But what we didn't know, the German army also dropped in legit real snipers, legit real real people. And their job, they had like a side mission to write a map of all our positions, right? That was like their little side thing. And he was, there was a big meeting, and he said, Kesselhut, they can see your shiny head from 200 miles away. You're staying in the camp. You're not joining operations. I was like, fucking hell. Apparently, there was in history a guy looking through a scope, seeing my shiny fucking head, bro. And then they were like, you can't join. You can't join, bro. And funnily enough, this is a funny story, actually. So I had to stay in camp, protect the camp. And funnily enough, my last name in real life is Kesselhut, which means the defender of the kettle, which is the one staying in camp while the army is fighting, protecting the camp. And I was in the camp protecting the camp. Isn't that fucking crazy? Crazy story, right? It's my destiny. True story, bro.
But was counterattacked on its right flank near Rödigen. A decisive charge by Soult's light cavalry drove off the Prussians, routing their infantry and capturing 2 enemy colours. As 6th Corps began to arrive on the plateau, its fearless but impetuous commander, Marshal Ney, ignored orders and dived into the fighting around Wurzenheiligen,
So much fucking
becoming
war.
briefly cut off by a Prussian counterattack and having to be rescued by Guard cavalry. General
Master's was an Austrian
Hohenlohe
officer.
was expecting
It would be sick if we could know what all our ancestors were, right? It would be sick.
the arrival of 15,000 more troops under General Ruchel at any moment. Until then, he
Ruchel.
remained largely inactive, shoring up his line and ordering limited counterattacks. But he had run out of time. Napoleon had begun the day with just 25,000 men. By 12:30, a steady stream of reinforcements
shit, bro.
brought his strength up to 96,000.
GG.
As the Emperor rode past the Imperial Guard, one young soldier, eager to be sent into action, called out, "Forward!" Napoleon stopped and demanded to know who had spoken, then rebuked the soldier as a beardless youth who ought not to offer advice until he too had commanded in 30 battles. But the moment
Fucking damn. Thank you, Stelzel.
had arrived.
Thank you.
Although the Guard,
Bro got
to
bullied,
its
man.
frustration, remained in reserve, the other French corps were ordered forward in a general attack. The Prussian army began to give
If these fucking coalition idiots will just logistically get together once, which they are in the Battle of Nations, right? This would have been so
ground.
easy.
At first, it kept its
I have seen the
discipline.
Battle of Nations off stream. I'll watch it on stream again because it's so cool. The Battle of Nations video, I can tell you everything. I literally live in the middle of that battle. And I have to
then
write the email so we can
disintegrated
stream from
into
the
a
Museum of the
general
Battle of
rout.
Nations.
Murat's cavalry were launched in pursuit, riding down and sabering hundreds of fleeing Prussians. General Ruchel's 2 divisions finally arrived at the worst possible moment. They briefly held up 5 Corps' advance, but were soon outflanked, broken up by cannon fire, and charged down by French cuirassiers.
I actually just learned what cuirassiers are from the Napoleon Total War. Back in the Middle Ages, they were armored cavalry with a cuirass, which was very expensive back in the day. They were wearing a cuirass. But then later on, they put it off because it was just annoying. It didn't help anymore. But they kept the name of cuirassier.
Meanwhile, 12 miles to the north, near Auerstedt, Marshal Davout was marching
A lot of my
southwest.
ancestors were military. Blah, blah, blah. I was just thinking the other day that whatever happens in the Ukraine war, however it ends, for the next decades, you know, I'm interested in history. And if a people, if a country, if a nation has been through a devastating war or something equal, they become for a couple of decades a warlike nation, like Finland, for example, with their conscription and stuff. You know what I mean? Like Germany, they destroyed that now after World War II. Makes sense. And I think with Ukraine, you're going to see it 2030, 2040, 2050. Ukraine will be very warlike. Innovations in war, their laws, which just makes sense, right? It just makes sense. It's like if you are part of a war, you get like this national spirit for the next 30 years of plus 5% recruitment, plus 10% soft attack.
expecting to fall on the Prussian left wing at Jena. Instead, he encountered the Duke of Brunswick's main Prussian army, heading north.
Now the main army arrives. What are they doing?
Davout's 3 corps, 27,000 men and 48 guns, was about to face off.
Here's how the Waterloo Cuirassiers looked like. Oh no, they still had one? Oh shit. That's real? Alter, get fucked. Oh, it blew through. Alter. The problem is you're probably not even instantly dead, huh? Your heart can still pump a little bit of blood. Oh my god, shit. Ay, ay, ay.
Of 2-1. While Bernadotte's 1 corps, which had orders to support Davout, was nowhere
He's obviously
to be
dead,
seen.
but I think he's still alive like a bunk for seconds.
Davout, nicknamed the Iron Marshal, showed no signs of alarm. He formed his 1st division into a defensive line centered on
still
the
used
village
to
of
cuirass.
Assenhausen. His infantry forming squares to repel a series of cavalry
Alter.
charges by
But obviously France will somehow win again.
General
They just
Blucher's
cheat.
advance guard.
They're just cheating the whole time. You're not winning that, bro.
His
No.
other 2 infantry divisions
His name's
arrived
Orange.
to
It's actually kind of
strengthen
cool.
the line,
Mr. Orange.
standing firm in the face of repeated Prussian attacks.
Shut
the
up,
Prussian
you're not winning
movements
that.
were slow and poorly coordinated.
Lazy
Nor did they
riders?
use their numerical advantage to try and outflank Davout. At a crucial moment, the Duke of Brunswick was shot through the eyes, a wound that proved fatal. King Frederick William himself took command.
Prussia was rushed during this time like you and HOI4 right now.
Several Prussian units remained uncommitted, but the king, convinced he faced the main French army under Napoleon, dithered. Around 12:15, Marshal Davout counterattacked. The Prussian army...
The French soldiers were more experienced, better equipped and disciplined. Why? What do you mean they're more disciplined than Prussians? And what does better equipped really mean? What does that really mean? Do they have a gun that shoots further? What does that really mean in detail? Please elaborate.
turned and fled.
Damn, wow.
Davout had won a stunning victory against the odds.
Wow.
But at a heavy price. His corps suffered 25% casualties. 1 man in 4 killed or wounded, while inflicting twice as many losses on the Prussians.
Jesus, man. They're like unstoppable at the moment. This is like Hitler in the beginning of the war. They must have felt so unstoppable. But then there's always that one point. You get cooked.
When news reached Napoleon that Marshal Davout had engaged and defeated the main Prussian army, he reacted first with disbelief, then heaped praise upon the Iron Marshal, later awarding him the title Duke of Auerstedt. Marshal Bernadotte, in contrast, was nearly court-martialed for failing to support Davout. Napoleon's army began a masterful pursuit of the beaten Prussians, giving them no time to regather their strength.
Jesus, man.
2 weeks after the twin battles...
Imagine you're Napoleon that time. You're gonna feel unstoppable. You're gonna feel like you're chosen by God.
Jena, Auerstedt, Napoleon's troops, led by Davout's heroic 3 Corps, entered Berlin. The next day, General Hohenlohe...
It's pretty sad as a German. Sometimes I have my little right-wing moments. If you go to the Brandenburg Gate nowadays, it's so sad. It's just scammers. It smells like piss because it's like a challenge to piss at the Brandenburg Gate. It smells like fucking crazy piss. There's a lot of drug people, just weirdos. It's every time I feel like every time you go to the main monument of a country, it's always kind of sad. It's always kind of sad.
Surrendered at Prenzlau. At Lübeck, General Blücher and 20,000 Prussians were driven out of the city in heavy fighting and forced to surrender, while 25,000 Prussians besieged at Magdeburg surrendered to Marshal Ney. Prussia's army had been devastated by a Napoleonic blitzkrieg. In just 33 days, Prussia had lost 20,000 dead,
Jesus.
140,000 prisoners,
Just keeps winning.
800 guns, and 250 standards. It was a humiliation that proud Prussians like General Blücher would neither forget nor forgive.
Prussia is really destroyed nowadays. That whole culture is gone now, which again, I think makes sense. After World War II, you had to destroy the Prussian militaristic culture. You had to do it.
Unlike Saxony,
Prussia is fucking
King Frederick
gone,
William
man.
refused to make peace with Napoleon. He continued to hold out in East Prussia, trusting in the approaching Russian armies to rescue his kingdom.
Times change.
Despite another glorious
Shit, man, I wanna watch
victory
one more
for
video. This is
Napoleon
cool.
and the Grande Armée, the war was not won yet.